Good evening, or good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Hopefully everything's good. Yes, it is. That's awesome. So, it's good to have you all here. Tonight's live stream is, as every Wednesday night live stream, is about questions and answers. So if you have questions, ask them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them. Other people will answer them as well. We're going to talk about cameras. We can talk about drones. This is my latest drone that I'm building. It's a Shendrode Squirt V2. I've got a build for a job coming up, and I'm playing with propellers. I've got a 5-blade propeller and a 3-blade propeller. Normally I've run 3-blade, but I'm going to try the 5-blade out and see how it works. But yeah, so welcome everybody to the stream. Hope you're doing well. I will be headed out of here shortly after the stream to go try and film the aurora, because we have a big solar storm today and the clouds are sort of parting from the big snowstorm that we've had. And I might be able to go out and film the aurora with the A7S III and the 24mm G Master, which is what I've been trying to do for basically 3 months now. So yeah, hopefully that will all work out. So you can ask questions in the chat and I will answer them. I know there's been a few questions. Say Jaden, hello. Nicholas, hello. Aerial Effects, hello. Liam, hello. Hello, man. Hope you guys are doing well out there. I love Hatcher's Pass too. I saw that go by. Hey, Avi. Nicholas, I don't make people moderators just offhand. I've got to figure out who you are and get to know you and stuff like that. So, yeah, I have some moderators on the channel, not a lot. Khrushchev, good to see you. Let's see. Yeah, Liam, that was those FPV shots from Hatcher's Pass were early last winter, I think. But actually, I'm thinking about trying to go out there tonight to see if I can capture the aurora out there. I'd love to capture the aurora with the old mine buildings in the foreground. Would be really fun. We'll see. It looks cold and windy out there right now. I'm like, I don't know. Anyway. Aerial Effects, do I think it's worth it to sell your Mavic Mini to get the Mini 2? The Mini 2 is a big upgrade. I don't know if it's worth it to sell the Mini 1. I think the only reason it would be worth it to sell the Mini 1 is if you need to fly in higher winds or if you really need to shoot stuff in 4K. Otherwise, I wouldn't worry about it. The Mini 1's still a really good drone. So, is it worth throwing money at Iron Glass for rehoused Helios before you raise the price points they announced January 1st? History Squad, that's a great question. I mean, are you going to be able to use it? Are you going to be able to put it to good use right away? Because that's what yeah. Answer that. What will it enable you to do that you can't do now? Yeah. Avi Grant. So I said that part 107 isn't necessary to post on social media. Also, good luck with the Sky thing. Thank you. Hey, place it here. Sky Studio West, welcome. Let's see. All right. Hopefully, if I missed a question, then ask it again. The chat's moving fast. I'm trying to keep up, but it's pretty hard. So Avi, you asked about part 107. So the official rule is that you do, but you also don't need a Part 107 to post on social media. So, like everything dealing with the U.S. government and the FAA, everything is as clear as mud. Basically, it means if your intent, like you post pictures on Instagram and you post videos on YouTube, and you don't, like, you're not out there saying, hey, go buy these products, or, you know, trying to get jobs with real estate agents or something like that, then you should be fine. You can post the videos, you can post the photos on social media, no big deal. But as soon as you start looking at ways to monetize that content, you need to have a Part 107. You know, so, and I ran into this early on, I started posting videos. I wasn't monetized because it was YouTube. I couldn't be monetized early on, but I started having people reach out to me asking, like, can we send you some filters and you can try them out and tell people what you think. Well, as soon as I started going down that road, I had to get Part 107 because all of a sudden then it was in furtherance of a business because I was being sent products. I was telling people they could, how the filters did. If they wanted to go buy them, they could use my affiliate links and stuff like that. So I had to have a Part 107 from that point on. But if all you're doing is posting on Instagram, posting on, social media for people to see, that's fine. John Burnett, oh man, the Saturn and Venus alignment, that should be fantastic. Jaden, would I get a Mavic Air 2 or Zoom? I'd get a Mavic Air 2, absolutely. You get better flight times and newer tech, better algorithms for tracking and stuff like that. So let's see. History Squad, you're running an A7 III currently, more unique feel for your portrait work, just daily filler for Instagram. Bit on the fence about whether to go iron glass or original Helios and mount. Ooh, what are they costing these days? I assume you're looking at the 58 millimeter f2 Helios, or, I assume that's what you're looking at. Oh wow, my internet got slow. Also, just so you know, I have redone my internet system here entirely, and so hopefully everything works better. But I've put in a whole new Wi-Fi system. I put in a whole new internet router system, so it should be better. But we'll see. This is also Alaska, so you never know. Nicholas says you flight blinds, and the saying is the FAA mission statement, we're not happy until you're not happy. Man, that is so true. The FAA and they're yeah. So, and Avi, and anybody who flies drones, I encourage everyone to get their Part 107 because it opens doors for you to do things that you can't do as a hobbyist, but it gives you a very good understanding of airspace, of weather, of safety protocols, all that. So if you can get a 107, even if you're not going to monetize it, like I'm going to go out and make money with this, I would get a Part 107 because it just gives you a lot more options and a lot more ability and understanding about drones and UAS flights in general. So, I see. Liam, what ND filter do I use most for the DJI Mini 2? I almost always, I'm like the ND16, if it's sunny, the ND16, if it's like kind of a medium brightish day, then the ND8, and those are pretty much the two that I use all the time. Any less than the ND8, I generally just don't go with an ND filter, but for me, that's the way it works out because it's just like, let's see, they're going up to 1,000. Honestly, History Squad, if you've got the money, if it's in your budget, and this lens is going to enable you to do things that I totally understand. Like I bought the 24 millimeter G Master because it was going to enable me to film in low light, go out and film the Aurora tonight, hopefully, and do things that I can't do with any other lens I have. Even though I have some like f1.8 lenses, I've got f2.8 lenses, So I bought that lens specifically for that reason. Now, I've used it on other stuff and loved it because it's a fantastic lens, but it just, if you've got the budget for it, then yeah, I would jump on it. And they're saying right now they're like 6 months out still, which is, I guess it makes sense with the whole, stuff that's going on in our world right now. So yeah, if you've got the budget for it and you've got the money for it, I'd jump on it because those lenses, the Helios lenses, are so cool. They do look amazing. All right. Yay, Brian. Well, I got one more improvement to make that should make it even better, and then I should be good. Thanks for the feedback. Appreciate it. Jaden. I do talk about action cameras too, Jaden. I just did a review on the X2. I've done reviews on like the GoPro 8 versus the Insta361R 1-inch regular version, 360 version, Osmo Action versus GoPro. I've done all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't specifically focus on action cameras, but I do talk about them because they're something that lots of people use. Let's see. Rick Helper, everyone, yeah, the safety, it does. It costs $150 every 2 years, Avi. It does. Yep. Place it here. You know nothing about filters. If you're in Florida flying over water, can I use a CPL filter and leave it on? Yeah, you can. I do that. The only thing is, like, it will work best when you're at the right angles to the sun for whatever the CPL filter is set at. So yeah. Mark H, what computer do I think would be best for editing 8K footage coming down the pike soon? Well, Mark, that's a great question. Apple is releasing their own silicone chips, which are incredibly efficient at dealing with 4K video. I have a feeling that their M2 or their M1X or whatever, like M1 Pro chips are going to be beasts at video editing. So 8K is still early. I feel like I'm overexposed. 8K is still early, but I think, oh, that's better. I think that's where things are going to go. So the Apple ones, I mean, on the PC side, the NVIDIA chipsets for their new graphics cards are insanely powerful. Yeah. Okay. History Squad, thanks so much for the input. You're welcome, man. You're looking to move away from telephoto lenses and sports photography and back into portrait work. Does seem to be like it seems to be like it's going to be a worthy investment just jumping in. Yeah, I mean, that Helios lens will give you some astounding quality, and definitely a unique look. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it'd be great. I think the only thing, like, for me, but then I don't do a lot of portrait work. I mean, I do some like corporate headshots and stuff like that. So for me, the Sony 55mm is where I'm gonna go when I mean, right now I use the 85mm right here a lot because I like that focal length for portrait work, and it's a really sharp lens. It's $500, but it's not it doesn't have quality to it like the Helios lens will have. Helios has a quality to it that you won't find in any other lens. So but yeah, if you're gonna do a lot of portrait work, that Helios lens would be awesome. So Nicholas, you might have to ask it again. Let's see. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it, Avi, if they made it cheaper after. Oh, looking up to me? Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So yeah. Seger, is the M1 Mac Mini okay? It's okay. But for anybody thinking of jumping on that, I would wait till the next generation or the next sets come out. The M1 is a great chip. It works really well if you're editing kind of the normal 4K video and stuff like that. But as soon as you jump into some of the 10-bit codecs or the RAW codecs, that's where those start to struggle. But also, the M1 Mac Mini only has 2 Thunderbolt ports, which means you're going to be using a bunch of accessories and dongles and everything else to get enough input. So I'd wait a little bit. But they're good. I mean, if you need something now, it'd be a great way to go because it works really well. But yeah, Rick Halper, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Great show. Always great information to be heard and seen. Oh man, I appreciate that so much, Rick. That really makes my day. So, all right, Nicholas, see you later. Thanks for hanging out here. Recovery One Drone. That's an interesting screen name. So what about the Segar? What about the Blackmagic 6K? Well, the Blackmagic 6K, if you're editing in DaVinci Resolve with the Blackmagic stuff, it's phenomenal on almost everything. Blackmagic with their Blackmagic RAW codec is a really easy codec to use and edit. It doesn't work in Final Cut well or at all in most cases. So you're going to want to use DaVinci Resolve at least to begin with. But the Blackmagic 6K is a pretty nice camera. If you're jumping into it right now, if you're going to go buy it today, I would wait just a little bit to see what they're going to come out with because that camera's been out for over a year now. They might be coming out with something updated. So, yeah, I'd just wait and see a little bit. Nicholas, can I talk about the Air 2 realistic flight times? Nicholas, I got about, I pretty typically got about 24 to 25 minutes with the Mavic Air 2 pretty regularly, unless I was like flying really hard all the time or just hovering. But if I was just doing kind of the normal stuff, 24 to 25 minutes was pretty average for me. Sky Studio West, you got 28 minutes max out of the Air 2. Yeah, yeah. 28 is, you're really pushing to that last couple percentage, man. Let's see, History Squad. You've been doing more portrait works for members of different teams that are sponsors in my sponsors league, so interesting lens is the goal. Price rise of the iron glass is the only factor. Cheers again. Absolutely. Cheers. That sounds like fun. Yeah, I don't have the chance to shoot much sports type stuff up here, but I think it'd be fun to go try it out. Stefan, the A9X or crippled R5 or S, is it a non-crippled R5? Man, Stefan, that's what the rumors are saying. For those of you that don't know, Sony has registered a couple of new cameras. The odds are one of them is the A9, like Mark III or whatever, and one is like an RX, which is the consumer line. But the A9, the rumors are it's going to have 8K video. It's going to have 50 something megapixels. It's gonna be a beast. Of course, it's going to be a beast. I got to compete with Canon, but I don't know. See, I don't know if they. I don't know. I mean, I think that Sony. They might do 8K video. They probably can. Now that they've kind of figured out the heating issues with the A7S III, they could put some of that tech in the R9 and probably make it work. I still think it'd be shorter because just good grief. And I don't know if the CF Express Type A can even handle the throughput of 8K, depending on what format you're shooting in. That'd be interesting, though. Let's see. John Burdett, Grand Prix going to Nashville. Decided the season tickets. Founders got the Sony A9. What lens would I recommend? If you're going to be shooting from a distance, you definitely want at least a 70 to 200 range. But I would probably go with something more like a 7200 range would be good. And maybe with a 2x telephoto converter. But I would get. I love, I've got the Tamron 70 to 180 here. I really like this lens. It's inexpensive. It's a great lens, really sharp, great image quality. But for something like what you're talking about, I would want something with image stabilization. So that would push me more toward the Sony lenses. Yeah. And then with the 2x teleconverter, you wouldn't have to have a huge lens, but you could go up to 400 millimeters if you needed to. So. Nicholas, the temp matters a little bit, but not a lot. So, Sky Studio West, nice. What battery do I get out of the Mavic 2 Pro? I get like 19 to 20 minutes. Mark H, that's really, that's where I get. If you're not if you don't need to buy a new one, anybody looking at the Mavic 2 Pro should wait. Right now, you should not buy a Mavic 2 Pro. You should wait for the Mavic 3 because it'll be coming fairly soon. Be Fresh HB. No, I've never been to Iceland. I would love to come sometime. I would love to go there and to Greenland, but we'll have to see. But I really would love to go. From what I hear, very similar to parts of Alaska. But I'd like to go see it. You're welcome, Aerial Effects. Stefan, yeah, that's true. An excellent point. The rumors of the R9 is that it's going to cost $1,500 more than the R5, R9, the A9. And if it costs $1,500 more, that's getting into really hard territory to go. Like, you're buying, the body is that that would really push it. They'd have to put some crazy stuff in there. Gotcha, Aero Effects. Nicholas, hey, from Spain. Hey, Nicholas, good to have you here. Have I heard the lens rumor about the 16mm G Master lens 1.8? I have. And the rumor is that they were going to release it this year, but because of production issues, they couldn't produce enough units, so they pushed it off to next year. I am really excited to see what Sony comes up with for a 16mm G Master lens with an f-stop of 1.8. If it's as good as the 24mm 1.4 or in that same ballpark, which it should be to have the GM label on it, I would be seriously interested in that lens. It would be fantastic. Jared asks if I've ever messed around with Luminar 4 or other AI photo editors compared to Lightroom. So I use Luminar 4 a lot. Actually, I use Luminar 4 a lot when I shoot headshots, corporate headshots and stuff like that. I've found that the ability to, how does it look like I'm overexposed again? Anyway, I found the ability to adjust portraits in Luminar 4 is faster and easier to get the same results that I get in Lightroom because of some of the tools that are built in Luminar 4. So I really do like it for that. I mess around with it a little bit for landscape. I still prefer doing most of my editing in Lightroom or super heavy editing in Photoshop, but 99% of the time it's Lightroom. And so, yeah, that's yeah. So it makes it easier, but like everything, you've got to be careful with it because you can push it way too far really quickly. Night Train, hey, selling a mini V1, getting someone into new drones. Nice, Night Train. Stefan, 8K raw, no heat issues in the A9, whatever, 3 or A9S. Man, if they could do that, that would blow Canon out of the water. It just, oh, that'd be it for Canon. All right, I had to skip down to the bottom because okay, Nicholas, you've got to slow down. Yeah, don't spam the chat, man. No, why would you wait? I'd get one now if you can. Hey, Tommy, how's it going, man? How's my lighting? Jake Sloan, I smell like Alaska. How do you know what Alaska smells like? Seems like a lot of underdogs are coming to the top. Look at AMD. Yeah, you know, Intel has been the thing for stuff for a long time, but they're, I don't know, they're just like, they decide to sit on their laurels and not push as hard. But, yeah, Apple M1 chips are really going to push the development of things along. The stuff NVIDIA's been working on and stuff NVIDIA has in the pipe is going to really be interesting to see. So it's a good time to be, you know, somebody who uses technology to edit and work with. I mean, when I started doing stuff when I was working in recording studios back in the day, way back in the day, I started editing with tape, you know, like razor, slice, tape it together, 2-inch reels. It was fun. Yeah, that's the idea behind me, Rick. It's all ice. I live in an igloo, man. Everybody in Alaska lives in igloos. Oh, let's see. Yeah, don't worry about it, Nicholas. Just calm down a little bit. Ridge Atkins. Let's see, Ridge Atkins, where did that go? Seems like a lot of, oh, yeah, okay, I did that already. Thanks, Liam. Is it true they pay you to live in Alaska? No, that's not true. Well, at least not the way it's presented. So Alaskans don't own the mineral rights to their land. They are held in trust by the state or by a corporation that is owned by the state. And everybody who lives here for a period of time and has, you know, is a resident, then becomes a part owner of that corporation. So you receive a dividend just like you would if you invested in a company that gave dividends on their stocks. So because we don't own our mineral rights and because we sell, because Alaska's a resource state and because we, you know, our minerals and our oil and stuff like that is a large part of what makes Alaska possible financially, we get to participate in that profit sharing sort of thing. So Hope that makes sense. Night Train, yeah, you got it. Let's see. Sky Studio West, thank you for the video regarding 5 best shots. Tried to pull back and reveal in your videos. They turned out great. Awesome. Flying low over water. Okay. I'll have to see if I can. Yeah, some of those shots, very fun. I've got more of those videos coming too, by the way. As soon as I can get out to film them. It's been really stormy the last week and a half. So let's see, History Squad, with me mentioning I'm waiting to try and get out to get photos of the aurora. Do I have much knowledge on the aurora australis? Oh my gosh, why is that hard? Or over Antarctica, make from some sweet photos. Yes. So, I mean, they're very similar. The northern pole displays are generally a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger because the pole is stronger and attracts more of the sun's particles, whether it's the southern pole or not, but they're both extremely beautiful. What you can do that I cannot, because of the way the Earth is do photos of the Milky Way and the Milky Way core. The Milky Way core never comes up high enough to where I can see it up here. I can only catch an edge of the Milky Way. So, yeah. And by the way, I would love to make it to Australia sometime. I have friends down there, lots of friends down there. I really want to come visit someday. And I've made it one of my goals in my life is to set foot and visit each of the continents on the planet. And so far, I'm at 4. Yeah, 4. Yep. Yeah, I keep thinking I've been to South America. I haven't quite been to South America yet. I've been way down, very close, but I didn't make it onto the South American continent. Anyway. Nicholas, will the Mavic 3 be better than the Mavic Air 2? Yes, it will, but it'll also be bigger. It'll also be a lot more expensive, probably almost double the price. So, yeah. Let's see. The Sloan Ranger. Hey, Bob Casey. Hey, Jake. When did I order my A7S III? How long did it take for you to get it? Santi, I got mine through my local photo shop, my local camera shop. I put my name on the list for them like last year and said, hey, when this comes out, I want one. And they were able to get me a copy on the very first day it was launched, which was fantastic. It was me and 3 other people that got them, but that we had our names on the list early enough, and they happened to get 3 cameras in that day. So, yeah. I am fortunate that way. Good night, Aerial Effects. Have a great night. Over the Grand Canyon once, Avi. That sounds fantastic. Let's see. I think I've actually caught up on the chat. So, should I wait for the Mavic 3? I'd get the Air 2, Nicholas. The Air 2 is a great drone. It'll serve you well for years. Recovery One drone. You saw a whole box of Milky Ways at 7-Eleven today? Man, 7-Eleven. I haven't seen a 7-Eleven in a long time. History Squad says it's true. We have a good view of the Milky Way here in coastal Queensland. My suggestion is visit Queensland if I come to Australia. The Daintree rainforest makes for amazing photos. Absolutely. That sounds fantastic. I would love to. Thanks, Stephen. Stefan, good Lord. I'm sorry, I don't know why I did that. Anyway, Stefan, thank you. Yeah. So a lot of new people have joined in the last little bit here, and I appreciate that. I think the last month I had like 4,600 new subscribers, which is kind of mind-blowing, but thank you all for being here. I appreciate that. Santicam, do I ever shoot in S-Log 3 or mostly Cine 4? I do shoot in S-Log 3 with the S-Gamut Cine profile, but I haven't, let's see, I did show a few of those shots in the low light video that I did about the A7S III, but I haven't really, like, and Tommy knows, like, he's been working on some LUT files or some grading profiles, and for me, like, I haven't really hit the point where I'm like, I love the S-Log 3 footage that I've worked with, that I've shot, And so until I get to that point where I really have it down and I can kind of set up a preset in Final Cut where I can just drop it in and have the footage 99% of the way there, then I'll switch to start shooting in S-Log3. But so far, I just modified the Cine profile with the movie standard color, I think, and to where I like it. It's good. Gets me 90% of the way there. Ilsa, hi. Sky Studio West. Will remote ID make the Mavic, the Air 2 obsolete? No, see, DJI and most drone manufacturers have built the hardware they need to make the drones remote ID compliant with what they know of what the FAA is planning on doing already. So it's more of a matter of them just updating the firmware, throwing a switch, and then we could be remote ID compliant, assuming that the FAA doesn't mandate us to buy a subscription plan to somebody's cellular service so that we can be connected 100% of the time, which won't work up here because most of the places I go, there is no cell service. And I'm not paying for a satellite phone for that. That'd be ridiculous. I keep feeling I got fuzz on my face. Let's see. Tristan, you're trying to catch the Geminids with the A7S III 12 to 24. Ooh, nice. Is that the 12 to 24 GM lens? Because I've been dying to try that lens out. I really want to try it. Mark H, do I have any new footage to show you tonight? Mark, I'm sorry, I do not. I literally haven't been able to leave the house since the last stream. The weather has been terrible. Not terrible. It's been snowing, which is not bad. It's just not been good for going out and filming. So I'm going out tonight, I hope, if I can find a clear spot in the weather to go try and shoot the aurora. And, so yeah. I'll do some low light photography, videography tutorials with the A7S III. Hey, Jose, good to see you too. Rich, apparently I'm doing something right that the YouTube algorithm likes. Well, actually, the truth of the matter is that I'm doing something that most of you have liked and enjoyed, because then YouTube knows that the videos are good to put out in front of people that haven't seen my stuff before. Yeah. Steep and Deep Outdoors. How do I develop color, gamma, etc. in picture profiles within the camera? Experiment. Yes. That's basically what I did. I sat down here for like 5 hours and made little adjustments to get things to where I wanted them to be-ish. Yeah. And if you want to know, like if you want somebody to take you in a deep dive, then watch Gerald Undun's video about picture profiles and Sony cameras. It's insanely good. Jose, would I recommend the Mini 2 for first drone ever, eventually use it for paid work? Yeah. Absolutely. I've used the Mini 2 for paid work. Unless one of my clients really needs something the Mavic 2 Pro can provide, only the Mavic 2 Pro, then I'll use the Mini 2. It's great. It's actually really nice. Hi, Paul Feinberg. Better late than never. Let's see. We'll have to see Recovery Run Drone if that holds true. They've got to have a provision in there for people like me who operate in places where there just is no cell reception, and you've got to fly further than 400 feet. Some of that stuff was ridiculously overreaching. Oh, awesome. Tristan, is it good? Is it $3,000 good? That's the question on the 12 to 24. I'm sure it is. Yeah, my local camera shop here has one for rent too that I think I'm going to go rent. And then I'm also, I'm not buying, but I'm getting a hold of an A7C. Stefan did a great comparison on his channel. If you scroll back up, I don't know if he's still in the chat. And I'm gonna do a comparison of the A7C with the A7 III, and I might test the A7C with the A7S III in the colors, because the problem is this A7 III colors out of camera don't match the A7S III out of camera, so it can be a challenge. But the A7C should be closer. I already know the A7 III is a better photography camera. The A7C is a better video camera. because of the way they're set up. But yeah. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, so if the Aurora footage does work out, if it works out, I'm planning on doing like a low light photography, astrophotography, Aurora videography video with the A7S III. So hopefully it would be cool. Nice, Matt MPG. It's a great first drone. Being a recreational flyer, can I legally fly at night? Yes, you can. You can if you have a strobe attached and you follow all the rules. You can fly at night. Mark H, do I use a gray card for white balance? Yes, I do. I use a gray card for white balance most of the time. Sometimes I can't, obviously, but I do try and have something that I can use for white balance when I'm out and about. Actually, I need to find my gray card. I couldn't find it yet the other day. So you're welcome, Jose. I have a little fabric one, but then I have a couple little like the credit card kind of ones too. That like the credit card ones are great for travel. So cloud cover here in northern Michigan, no aurora for you. Dang, sorry, Jim. Yeah, I mean like right now I've been watching the weather here. I've been watching like the cameras and stuff that are out there that I can use, and it's like it's right on the edge of whether or not it'll be worth it for me to go out for most of the night to see if I can shoot something, but I'm gonna risk it anyway. G9, really looking at the A7C. Matt MPG, so the A7C is a good camera. It's basically the A7 III. The sensor's the same. The software's the same. The colors are a little bit different, more improved, more like the A7S III. The difference is that because it has the flip out screen, it is a little better for video, especially if you film yourself, the vari angle and stuff like that. And then another difference is that it doesn't have as many custom buttons or this front dial here. So if you do photography where you're quickly adjusting aperture and shutter speed, that's where there's an issue. And then it doesn't have, what is it? It doesn't have one of these I think the 5D joystick, which I really use a lot in photography. So that's why, Paul, I am not jumping to the A7C, but I do want to rent one and try it out and test it and just kind of, put my thoughts out there for the YouTubes. Thanks, Bob Casey. What FPV? Tristan? Yeah. So this is a Squirt V2 that I am building because I have a shoot coming up in January that I'm going to need to use this on. It's down in Chicago, well, in Illinois. And so I'm building it now so I can run it through its paces, really make sure I know it inside and out, and then take it down with me. And I have like 4 other drones I have to take with me for that shoot too. But yeah, should be fun. Mark H, how far do I have to drive out to see the aurora? I drive about an hour to an hour and a half out of town to get away from the light pollution that Anchorage and other nearby places produce. So, yeah. Thank you, Mark H. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. For everybody else, super chats are not necessary, but they are very much appreciated because it helps me buy gas to drive to these places in my car, and it helps me get coffee, which keeps me warm and awake at night, in the case of tonight. Oh, man. History Squad, X-Rite Color Checker Passport's always a good little product to have in one's pocket. Yeah, I just haven't bought one yet. I need to get one. Scott R., you have a gray-white balance card. How do you get your white balance looking to the best Kelvin on the Mini 2? You can do it the same way. If you kind of know about like sun is like 5600, clouds are like 6500, stuff like that, then you're pretty good to go. Another thing, and so one of the videos I want to do coming up is like not the best of, but like my favorite things, favorite lenses, favorite apps, all that kind of stuff. But one of my favorite things is this. It's called the Light Spectrum Pro. Right there. And it is amazingly accurate just using the iPhone cameras. And so I use that sometimes, and then I can dial in my white balance on the Mini 2. But the Mini 2 auto white balance actually does a pretty good job. So long as you're not moving from like one type of lighting to another, then it does a really good job. Matte MPG. Oh, then you'll love the A7C. That's right, Rick Halper. No risks, no rewards. That's right, Matte MPG. The Mini 2 has no obstacle avoidance. Paul Feinberg, you sold your A6600 today. Just waiting for the A7S3 to come back in stock. Not sure if you're going to replace it with an A7C and sell your A7 III or what. We'll see. I need lots of hiking shoes, Night Train. That's true. I do actually have a good pair of winter hiking boots and then a good pair of like super warm winter hiking boots, which is what I'll be using tonight. And then I have a good pair of summer hiking boots. Yeah. So if you're curious what I use, it's from a company called Xero, Xero shoes. I should see if they want to sponsor a video. Actually, I should, because I got them on a whim and I have fallen in love with them. They're like super lightweight, pretty warm, and I just really like them. They're kind of like the whole base of like naked feet sort of thing, like the shoes with the. They're not the toe shoes. I don't use those, but they're just really lightweight, and I really enjoy them. So, thanks, Tristan. And I'd love to come down there and shoot the Galactic Core and stuff sometime. TB, do I think the T7i is a good camera for video? It's a great camera to start with for video. Yes, it is. It shoots good. It shoots good video. Yeah. Rick Halber. Sorry, I forgot the coffee. Thank you very much. You have bought me 2 cups of coffee and quarter tank of gas. I can't remember what gas prices are right now, but I appreciate it, you guys. I really do. Thank you so much. Paul, either that or you'll wait out the A7 IV instead of the A7S III. You don't know what the A7 IV will bring. Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting camera. TB, do I recommend changing to Sony for video instead of Canon? So if you haven't heavily invested in the Canon ecosystem right now, Sony is better on video specs wise. I mean, honestly, the Fuji X-T4 is a great video camera too, specs wise. Yeah. Canon is and has been a primarily photo camera with some video features that they finally started adding on, but they're still primarily a photo camera. So, yeah. Robert Harris, this will be your first winter with a drone camera. Is there anything special I need to do with the A7 III, the Sony 85 1.8, the Tamron 17 to 28 to shoot in the cold? Not particularly, Robert. If you've seen my 5-Minute Friday videos, I give you a couple of tips in there about using a Ziploc bag before you bring the camera back into warm temperatures to keep the moisture, the humidity from inside off the camera while it warms up to temperature. So I'd watch that for sure. But the A7 III is pretty well weather sealed. Just keep an eye on this. Don't get snow or water into the hot shoe mount because there's a bunch of contacts up there, and if they short, it will cause you problems. So keep something in there that keeps that clean and clear. High-tech boots are great too. Yeah, those are good. I had a high-tech for a while. I mean, I wore them out and then moved on to something else. So, awesome, Matt. Data's from Ketchikan. Would love your hat. Where can you find it? I don't know. This was like the cheapest. It was like a $5 hat. I think I found it at Walmart or something. It's just super cheap. Yeah. Bye, Bob Casey. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it. Have a good one. Be safe. I'll see you again. See, got about 15 minutes left in the stream. Canon EOS R via EOS R5 for landscapes. Oh, EOS R5. If you can afford the EOS R5 with some RF glass, yeah, for landscapes, absolutely. That would be the way to go. Yeah. Joe Sullivan asks, the color science between the A7 III and A7S III, and do I see Sony carrying it over to the A7 IV? I see the A7S III color going to the A7 IV. Maybe they'll add some improvements. I don't know, but I think they'll probably. The A7S III has very good, accurate color overall, and so I think they'll probably just carry that over with the new menu system and stuff like that. Rumor is it's going to be a 30 to 32 megapixel sensor, which I would love. That would be fantastic. I don't really want to go over that because then your files get so big, but a 30, 32 megapixel sensor would be great. Yeah. Brian Peterson now taking orders. $49.95 includes shipping. Oh, yeah. I've thought about putting merch on this channel, like shirts and hats and stuff, and I just... I don't know. Anyway. The one thing I think I would make some merch with is I shoot 24 FPS because I'm civilized, because I've said that in like 4 or 5 videos, and it always gets a reaction from people. Somebody always comments about it. And so I thought I should make that into a shirt. You know, I shoot 24 frames a second because I'm civilized. Or something like that. So I haven't designed it yet. I haven't put it together yet. But if I do, you guys will see it. Payman, the EOS R6 is great. I would choose that over the R5 or the EOS R, just because it has better low light performance, and it's a big enough sensor to do landscapes with too. But yeah, that would be my choice personally. If I was going to go with the R series, I would get the R6. Yeah. Matt MPG, what do I edit with? FCPX, Final Cut Pro, Premiere, DaVinci, switching from Premiere Pro to Final Cut Pro. I use Final Cut Pro X. I have a few plugins that I bought for it that are great, but Final Cut Pro is a fantastic editor. If you want to see if you like DaVinci, then you can download it for free, and it's limited, but it's not that limited what you can do with it in the free version, and then you can decide if you want to buy it. But I don't do Premiere Pro because I don't want to do monthly subscription any more than I have to. And yeah, so I've just been using Final Cut Pro for a long time. What do I think? Mark H asks, what do I think of the Canon R5? Sounds like it was really good in the camera stabilization. Nice not having to use a gimbal. Yeah, it does have really good stabilization. It does have some issues there too that I'm sure they'll work out with firmware, as far as like on wider angle lenses. You get these kind of weird warpy things going on, which is, it's kind of typical. But it does have really good stabilization built in, especially when you use a lens with optical image stabilization built into the lens. John Burnett, if they ever lift the border crossing ban, you're going to come up here in 2021. Awesome. If you can make it to Alaska, everybody should once in their life. It's a beautiful place to visit. And they will lift the border crossing, especially as, you know, stuff rolls out. We'll go back to life as we have known it, hopefully. Steve-O Productions, the Mini 2 is a great drone. Yeah. Mini 2 or Air 2 would be the ones I would recommend. Whichever one of those fits your budget, I'd go with it. Let's see. Is there anything I should get to go with my Nikon 7500 35mm 8.5mm? You also have a zoom lens. You don't really need anything else for your camera besides maybe someday going full frame. No, Abby. I mean, that's a great setup. You've got 2 really good lenses. I don't know what your zoom lens is. The only thing you would look at maybe is getting something very wide, like 12 to 16 millimeters, for the Nikon, for when you want to do real wide stuff. But yeah. Paul Feinberg, Final Cut Pro has so many great plugins that make my life easier. Man, you are not kidding. I was using some today. There are some great ones out there. So Liam, HitFilm is free too. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you can use HitFilm for free and try it out too if you like it. Matt MPG, you're getting tired of crashes, subscription model. Yeah. So yeah, I would go either one of those, especially if you've used DaVinci already. Maybe try it, because the new DaVinci, whatever, 16, 17, whatever they're up to now, is really good and similar to Final Cut Pro in the way they've laid it out, at least in the user interface. Mark H, it's also a good hand warmer. What did I miss here? Where's Mark H? Canon R5. Oh, yes, it is a good hand warmer in the winter. So is the GoPro Hero 9, by the way. It's a very good hand warmer. Night Train says, if you go to Alaska, go see Denali. Yes, you absolutely should go see Denali. If you can go up there, do it. Sky Studio West. Now you have a drone. Yeah. So the thing about drones in Alaska is like there are a lot of places up here you can't fly because they're national parks. I happen to sit in this area where I can go to glaciers and stuff like that. Where they're not national parks. A lot of them are in national forests, but they're not like wilderness preserves or anything like that. So, yeah, it's a great place to fly. But the other thing you have to remember is that there are a lot of small planes up here that fly very low and have no warning. So you got to keep your drone fairly close to you to be safe. But yeah. Awesome, Preston. Where is mine? I might have put it in my bag. I think I put it on my bag already. But that Zippo hand warmer is fantastic. I don't know where I put it. I guess I probably already packed it already because I'm getting ready for tonight. But yeah, very, very good. The only thing to keep an eye on, Preston, sometimes do the lowest setting because that is more than enough. And then every once in a while I've put just a little something like like wrapped it in a washcloth or something like that, just because once I felt like it was getting too hot. I don't think it was. It could have been me coming in from the bitter cold and grabbing it and feeling like, wow, that's really warm, which is probably more the case than anything. But it's great. So I got to catch up. John Burnett, thank you very much. Don't run out of gas and freeze to death. No, definitely won't do that. Brian Peterson, yes, that is the plan. There was some, so the reason, I wasn't planning on going out tonight, but then, because later on in this month is when there's supposed to be another good display. But there was some big solar storm that should make for a good aurora, and the clouds are breaking up, which is spectacular timing, because, yeah. So if that happens, then I will be awesome. And you guys will see a video about the A7S III and the Sony GM lens 24 1.4 and how to shoot in really, really ridiculously low light and do nighttime stuff. Walker's Outdoor Adventures, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, you guys. I now have enough gas money and coffee money to get there and get back. Thank you. I appreciate that. Avi, yeah, it canceled a lot of things. Let's see, Scott Wrigley, it seems I shoot with the A7 III and not the A7R4. Beginning photographer, love landscape photography. Can I share my pick for a beginner who wants sharpness? For landscapes, I would look at the A7R3 or the A7R4 if you have the budget for either one of those. But if you can wait 3 months, then wait and see what the A7 IV brings, because I think that'll be a really sweet spot of a camera with a 30-something megapixel sensor. Yeah, that's my recommendation. I'm not following all the YouTube rules. I should be like, you should buy this, and here's an affiliate link right in the description. But I'm if you could wait 3 months. Wait 3 months and see what the A7R4 brings, or the A7 IV brings. But the A7R4 is a fantastic camera. The only problem is the files are huge and a lot of, it's a great camera. Matt MPG, the performance of the M1 chip. So the M1 chip does really, really well, especially with Final Cut Pro. And I guess it does pretty well with DaVinci Resolve too, until you get into the ProRes, the RAW, that kind of formats, then it does well. It does not work well with Premiere Pro at all yet, from what I hear. Let's see. Yeah, Paul, that's good advice. The A7 III, I love shoot with the A7 III for photos. It's a really great sweet spot. See you, Paul. Have a good night, man. I would say I'll see you on the show, but I might not because I might be driving to go see if I can find some Aurora Borealis. Good night, Liam. Thanks for being here. There's about 5 minutes left on the stream. So, yeah. Got any more questions? Ask them now or wait till next week. Hey, Jared Spink. Nice to see you. Good to have you here. Just coming in on the very tail end, but good to have you. For those of you who don't know, Jared Spink runs the a podcast. Oh, geez. Now I can remember what it's called. Anyway, he had me on the podcast, and it was really, really fun. It's the Hive podcast. I was going to say something that was related to Hive, but it wasn't Hive, so I'm glad I checked. Anyway, the Hive podcast, yeah. And he has some great creators on there, too, by the way. If you're looking for a good podcast to go, fun podcast to listen to, it's really fun. I listened to one of them, and then I ended up listening to like 7 because I was like, oh, these are nice. And of course, I had to listen to the one they did with me like 4 times because. Thanks, Walker's Outdoor Adventures. I appreciate that. You're welcome. Yeah, I am hoping I can get some aurora, but yeah, like Brian said, it's like a 7 right now. What is it? I'm gonna see what the. Oh yeah, right in about an hour it's supposed to hit its max, so I gotta get going. And the nice thing is the sunset 2 hours ago, so it's dark. Oh man. I'm sorry, Jared. I should have had that more off the top of my head. I've been thinking about going out to film the aurora. Yeah. Thanks, Rick. I will. And thank you all for the support. On that note, I am going to wrap up the stream. I appreciate you all being here. The streams, it's so much fun chatting with you all and being a part of this community. So thank you. Thanks for being part of it. Thanks for using the affiliate links. Thanks for supporting super chats, commenting, liking, all that stuff. It's really, really awesome. So, Mark H., what is the shortest day up here? It's December 21st. It's, 5.5 hours of sunlight? 5 hours of sunlight? Something like that? Or maybe 4.5? Something like that. It's pretty short. And we're only a little bit longer till we start going back the other direction. So, thanks, John Burnett. Share the footage soon. Oh, you'll probably see it on Monday if it works out. If not, you will see a video of me sitting here talking about stuff because it did not work out. Anyway, all right, everybody, thank you again. Be good, be safe, and don't forget, I'll see you the same time, same place next week. Until then, stay safe, and yeah, cheers.